Brahmavihara's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Thank you for your support. There is a Dharma box for contributions in the kitchen and also a link for contributions on the website.
Good morning. Well, good morning to everybody in the Zindo, everybody online, everybody who may hear this talk later online or in the cloud. I'm just happy to be here with all of you. And today, we're going to be talking about the Brahmaviharas, the metta practices. And these were mentioned in an email that Peg sent all of us recently. It was an email offering us guidance on the practices that we can use during these difficult times. And in her email, Peg starts off. She offers us a few things. And she says, "We come together as a Sangha, a collective movement for the relief of suffering and for the liberation for all beings. The only release from the trap of fear, rage, and despair is the connection and care we can provide for each other and for all lives." So, we are not alone. We have each other. She goes on to mention the practices we can offer to the world and to ourselves. First is Zazen. Peg says, in Zazen, we can build protection, a force field to shield the mind and heart. In these times of so much distress and suffering, we need that kind of protection. Next, she mentions practicing the perfections, the paramitas. And these are the practices of generosity, ethics, patience, effort, concentration, and wisdom that guides us as we live by vow. And currently, some of us are integrating these paramitas within our lives by taking the 8 months course being offered by Appamada and our sister Sanghas. Living by the paramitas is a great gift we can offer to the beings of this world. So, another practice Peg mentions in her email is metta practice. And this is the topic, as I mentioned, for today's talk. This is a practice of offering the Brahmaviharas, the divine abodes of the mind, to ourselves and others. Brahma is the name of a god familiar to everyone in the Buddha's time. Vihara actually means monastery, or in this case, a sacred dwelling place. These divine abodes cultivate the wholesome states of mind we need for living by vow in these times. They support our practice of the paramitas. These divine abodes counteract the fear and despair many of us experience as we face today's world. When we can perceive ourselves and our world through the lens of the Brahmaviharas, we have a chance of responding wisely and usefully. Practicing with the Brahmaviharas opens the heart. The Brahmaviharas are, in Pali, metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha. Metta means loving kindness or benevolence. Karuna means compassion. Mudita means sympathetic joy. Upekkha means equanimity or equipoise. At Appamada, we usually use two different meditation methods to practice the Brahmaviharas. One method is radiating the Brahmaviharas. The other is practicing with specific phrases. Radiating the Brahmaviharas puts special emphasis on their boundless nature. Offering the Brahmaviharas as phrases, while still boundless, feels more personal and specific. Today we'll get a chance to practice both. So something that can be confusing when practicing the Brahmaviharas is the term metta. Metta practice is used as an umbrella term for all Brahmavihara meditation practices. It is also the term used for the first divine abode of the Brahmaviharas, the abode of loving kindness. Just something to keep in mind. In describing Brahmavihara practice, the Metta Sutra says, "Let one cultivate an infinite goodwill toward the whole world." It can seem daunting to offer loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity to those we believe are causing harm. The key word in the quote is cultivate. The seeds of each of the Brahmaviharas are a part of every one of us. These seeds just need to be nourished and cultivated. When they blossom, they heal our own hearts and guide us as we live with others in this world. Brahmavihara practice cultivates these seeds. We are always a work in progress. Before moving on to the most important thing, the meditation practices themselves, I'd like to take a look at the meaning and feeling tone of each of the divine abodes. First, metta, loving kindness or benevolence. Metta has two root meanings in Pali, gentle and friend. When we offer loving kindness to ourselves or others, we are offering gentle friendship. Sharon Salzberg describes this as being like a gentle, nourishing rain that falls on everything without discrimination. There is a strong aspect of protection in metta, as we can see in this quote from the Metta Sutra. Even as a mother, at the risk of her own life, watches over and protects her only child, so with a boundless mind should one cherish all living beings, all living things. Read that again. Even as a mother, at the risk of her own life, watches over and protects her only child, so with a boundless mind should one cherish all living things. It would be easy to understand this quote to be indicating loving kindness as a kind of attachment, but loving kindness in all the Brahmaviharas are boundless. There is no sense of the anxious attachment we sometimes ascribe to a mother's love. Loving kindness is tempered by the spaciousness of another Brahmavihara, the Brahmavihara of equanimity. Metta is the most frequently mentioned Brahmavihara in the early Buddhist discourses. It is foundational to the practice of all the Brahmaviharas. Analayo refers to metta as the water that nourishes the tree of compassion. Metta directly opposes the hindrance of ill will. When people are harmed by others, our gut reaction is usually some form of ill will. Ill will hurts our own hearts, and our minds can become clouded by hatred and despair. When this happens, the wisdom of what actually needs to be said or done can be lost. Those who cause harm are, in my opinion, unhappy, confused people. Metta offers the gentle rain of friendship boundlessly to all beings, including ourselves. We all make mistakes, even egregious mistakes. The benevolence of metta acknowledges the Buddha nature within all of us. Next is karuna, compassion. It is the wish for beings to be free from suffering. The difference between loving kindness and compassion is that compassion has a more active quality. Loving kindness offers a universal benevolence. Compassion is an active wish that all beings be relieved of suffering. Karuna translates as the quivering of the heart. The heart quivers when it opens to the suffering of others. But this quivering of the heart is not weak. Sharon Salzberg says this about compassion. Sometimes we think that to develop an open heart, to be truly loving and compassionate means that we need to be passive. Yet this is not what is meant by compassion. Quite the contrary. Compassion is not at all weak. It is the strength that arises out of seeing the true nature of suffering in the world. Compassion allows us to bear witness to that suffering, whether it is in ourselves or others, without fear. It allows us to name injustice without hesitation and to act strongly with all the skill at our disposal. The divine abode of equanimity tempers compassion. Instead of judging the world in terms of good and bad, we learn to see the world in terms of suffering and the end of suffering. Sharon Salzberg says, when we see only suffering and the end of suffering, then we feel compassion. Then we can act in energetic and forceful ways, but without the corrosive effects of aversion. Compassionate action is not always a grand gesture. Often what is most needed is simply being present with someone's suffering. The equanimity to be present to someone's pain arises as we realize the truth of suffering. It is a result of certain conditions, and its relief is also the result of certain conditions. Our vow is to relieve suffering when we can. When we compassionately open our hearts to the suffering of others, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. We ourselves may begin to suffer. When this happens, we are no longer present and supportive. The focus moves to our own suffering. In my life as a hospice nurse, I found that being with the suffering of others required a non-dualistic approach. It required a we approach. Sometimes we all suffer, and we all suffer in similar ways and over our lifetime. It is not a matter of, I do this for you. We are in this together. To be truly present with the suffering of others, we rely on our entire practice life. It brings us strength and resilience, and that is what we offer with our presence. The next divine abode is mudita, sympathetic joy. Mudita means to be happy for the happiness of others. Analayo defines it as the opposite of discontent. It is sometimes considered to be the most difficult of all the Brahmaviharas. It counteracts our tendency to have preferences. The obstacles to mudita are things we all experience at some time or another, such things as judging, comparison, competitiveness, and envy. These are all constricting states of mind. Sympathetic joy is a potent state of mind that begins to defeat attraction and aversion. The divine abode of sympathetic joy becomes boundless when it is supported by the abodes of loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity. When you practice mudita, it doesn't mean you never again feel envy and the other obstacles to sympathetic joy. You just don't take them so seriously. The same could be said of the other divine abodes. Practicing loving kindness doesn't mean you will never again experience ill will. Practicing compassion doesn't mean you will never again be self-centered. Remember, we are cultivating the seeds of these divine states of mind. To me, it is a matter of first honestly noticing and feeling what is coming up. It helps me to sit in meditation with the feeling minus the story. Then, when I'm able, or when you are able, you can allow your mind, heart to shift gears a little bit into a greater wisdom. Each time we do this, wisdom becomes stronger. Our understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings supports all the Brahmaviharas, and that awareness is especially important for mudita. As sympathetic joy grows, we gradually begin to stop defining ourselves by others. This contributes greatly to our own happiness. We begin to see ourselves and all beings as deserving of happiness. It can be difficult to have sympathetic joy for those whom we feel cause harm. And sympathetic joy is not something we offer when someone receives pleasure from unwholesome actions. We offer mudita for wholesome happiness and success. Still, as we work with sympathetic joy, we begin to drop the self-centered dream. The final Brahmavihara is upekkha, equanimity or equipoise. The Pali word upekkha translates as balance. In English, the word equipoise is more closely associated with balance and equanimity. For this reason, Analayo prefers to translate upekkha as equipoise. Upekkha is certainly mental balance. It is a mind not subject to extremes. But I think equanimity is also a good description of upekkha. The dictionary defines a definition of equanimity is mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in difficult situations. So you could say upekkha is the balance of mind that brings mental calmness and composure. These are vital qualities needed as we live by vow in these difficult times. Sharon Salzberg says that the character of upekkha is to arrest the mind before it falls into extremes. Equanimity is spacious stillness of the mind, a radiant calm that allows us to be present fully with all the different changing experiences that constitute our world and our lives. It is equanimity that keeps each of the Brahmaviharas from going to an unhelpful extreme. It keeps loving kindness from simply becoming a saccharine platitude. It supports compassion by supplying the spaciousness necessary to face suffering fearlessly. It supports sympathetic joy by allowing us to see that the wholesome happiness of all beings is also our happiness. Equanimity is not uncaring. It is the warm feeling of being connected to everyone and everything. Sometimes Zazen is like this. Equanimity offers us the spaciousness necessary for letting go of attraction and aversion and to live intimately with life as it is. Equanimity supports all aspects of living by vow in these difficult times. And now, to get a taste of these practices for ourselves. So if you would like, take a moment to stand and stretch, and we'll be meditating for just a little bit. So when you're ready, go ahead and sit back on your cushion or your chair and take a comfortable upright posture. Excuse me, we're not quite there yet. Do take a comfortable upright posture, but I have a few more pointers I want to offer before we sit in this meditation. Today, you will only get a taste of Brahmavihara practice, but these practices are powerful, and for me, they have been life-changing. If you want to practice the Brahmaviharas intensely over time, it is recommended to first speak about it to your teacher. Together, you can decide if this is the best time in your life for these practices. It is also good to meet regularly with the teacher to discuss what you discover. As with any practice, only do what feels comfortable to you. Several years ago, I practiced the phrases meditation daily for almost a year. I had to stop when it was time to offer metta to people with whom I had a problem. I just wasn't ready. And Peg said that was fine, to just wait until I was ready. And later, I did begin to be able to offer metta to people with whom I was in conflict. But recently, I tried to offer metta phrases to a certain political leader, and it made me very uncomfortable. I'm just not quite there yet. I would like to be, but I'm just not. Maybe someday. But the point is to cultivate the seeds of the divine abodes. Only offer Brahmavihara to the extent that you are currently able. And one thing to remember is that it is very important to offer the Brahmaviharas to yourself first. This is true for both radiation meditation and the phrases meditation. Doing this prepares you to fully offer the divine abodes to others. Another pointer, you may or may not feel loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, or equanimity emotionally. And that's fine. Whether you do or do not, the seed is still being cultivated. Our first taste of Brahmavihara meditation today will be meditating with phrases. And there are traditional phrases, but I like to use the ones that Peg created. As always, we will begin by offering the phrases to ourselves, but there are variations of the phrases that can also be offered to the people we care about, feel neutrally about, or to people with whom we have a problem. The metta phrases can also be offered to groups, or to groups of people and to all beings. Metta, loving kindness, is the Brahmavihara traditionally offered with this phrases meditation. So, the phrases we're going to use today, I'll just read them out so you can be familiar with them. May this body be at ease. May this heart be open. May this mind be boundless. May this being awaken. May this body be at ease. May this heart be open. May this mind be boundless. May this being awaken. At the beginning of the meditation, I will speak these phrases, and then you may silently follow me in your own mind. Speak those phrases in your own mind. And then after a little bit, I will stop speaking, and you may sit with the phrases on your own. So, take your gentle, upright posture. As you sit, become aware of the shape and weight of the body on the cushion or chair. Notice the breath as it moves naturally. Allow the tension in your body to melt away like the soft wax of a melting candle. Please place your attention on the space at the center of your chest. As your attention rests in this space, you may become aware of a sense of spaciousness or warmth in that area. If you want to evoke a sense of loving kindness, it's often suggested to visualize looking at a little kitten or puppy or a little baby. It's up to you. With attention on this heart space, please silently repeat the phrases after me. May this body be at ease. May this heart be open. May this mind be boundless. May this being awaken. May this body be at ease. May this heart be open. May this mind be boundless. May this being awaken. May this body be at ease. May this heart be open. May this mind be boundless. May this being awaken. Please repeat these phrases to yourself for a little while. So gradually, slowly, bring your attention back to the room. Even just a tiny taste of the Brahmaviharas can really have an impact. But don't worry, we're going to do the radiation of Brahmaviharas now. Also wonderful. So about the radiation of Brahmaviharas. Analayo describes this meditation as being like the endlessly radiating sun. The first three divine abodes can be compared to radiating different qualities of sunlight. The divine abode of equanimity is like gentle moonlight. Today we will be radiating loving kindness endlessly. This radiation is not something we try to force or control. It is more or less, I find it to be an allowing. You simply allow it. And sometimes it helps to visualize a curtain gradually being pulled open, pulled across the sun, so that the radiation just gradually flows very naturally. It's an allowing, not a forcing. We don't make the sun shine. It is natural and endless for the sun to shine, and the same is true of the Brahmaviharas. So return to your gentle, upright posture. Take a moment to be present with your body and breath. And again, please place your attention on the space in the middle of your chest, the space of the heart. Imagine that space is full of radiating sunlight, not the oppressive heat of the summer sun in Texas. This is the gentle warmth of the sun in early spring. Allow the sun to radiate the light of loving kindness to fill the entire heart space of the chest. Just an allowing, a gradual opening of the curtain. Now allow the radiation of loving kindness to fill your entire torso. Then spreading to the shoulders, the neck, the head, the arms and hands, the legs and feet. Feel this gentle sunlight of loving kindness filling your entire body. But this light of loving kindness cannot be contained by this body. The gentle sunlight of loving kindness begins to spill out beyond the limits of your body. Loving kindness radiates endlessly in front of you. Endlessly behind you. Endlessly to your right. Endlessly to your left. Endlessly below you. Endlessly above you. The light of loving kindness radiates to all beings everywhere, without exception. Sit with the radiating light of loving kindness for a little while. Very gradually, very slowly, please return your attention to the room. It's a very powerful meditation. You might try feeling what it feels like, how do your feet feel on the floor or your body on the cushion. Become very aware of your physical presence in this space. It's all endless anyway. Even as we sit in these very bodies, it's still all endless, still all boundless. And we're still all in it together. And when everyone is ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And if you're not ready, just sit in this. I'm going to say a few more things, not much. I just want to thank everyone for being here and participating in this Brahma meditation. I think it is, it supports our practice. It supports our paramita practice, supports our bodhisattva vow, and it's ancient. The Buddha speaks of it in the ancient texts. So thank you so much for being here and participating. If this is something that interests you, I would first recommend Peg has a piece on our website under the study tab. I think it's just called Metta Practice. A couple of good books. This one, Loving Kindness by Sharon Salzberg, Salzberg, Loving Kindness. And another one, and this one really gets in the weeds with it, so if you're really interested, Compassion and Emptiness by Analio, Analayo. Compassion and Emptiness, Analio, Analyo. So we have a little time. What are your questions? What are your thoughts? Anything you might wish to say about the meditation practice? Joan, and then Kim.
How deeply calming, and how it just felt so right for the world now, and especially for my situation. I'm going to be getting chemotherapy on Tuesday and Wednesday. And if this is up on the website, I'm going to listen to it. And when I thought of resonating, loving kindness, sitting in that room with all the other people, I could just see the benefit, at least for this being. And so it brought me a great deal of peace and joy, experiencing it and thinking of doing it in the future. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, Joan. It's a wonderful idea to radiate the Brahmaviharas to all the folks. Yeah, all those folks getting ready to get chemo with you. Yeah. Thank you. Kim, I know you had your hand up.
Yeah, sometimes if there's a lot of agitation, it's enough to say, may this body be at ease, and just repeat that or any of the phrases. But sometimes it's a little triggering even to go from one to the other to the other to the other, just may the body be at ease, right? And really, as opposed to just speaking the words, really let the body be at ease.
I think that's true, and this was a guided meditation, but as you sit with it on your own, you could sit with the body be at ease as long as you wanted, And I think you can play around with this a lot, for sure. Thank you, Kim. I see Lisa's hand and then Becky's hand.
Well, this was very timely this morning. Metta practice is still very aspirational for me. I haven't been able to make it automatic. And that's really what I long for. I want to be able to embody it and have it, as a tool more frequently available. And what really helps me is, having a voice that goes along with it, hearing it. That connection helps me experience it.
Your own voice, hearing your own voice, say those.
Hearing your voice.
Oh, have a guided meditation, yeah.
Hearing the voice of someone else. And, then I can embody that voice, I can incorporate it. But for me, getting many of these chants and practices started, it takes that little nudge of encouragement. And something that was really of great interest to me is, I think it was the Karuna practice, maybe. It talked about what Peg once said is the hardest thing and the last thing to, that last attachment to let go of. You were talking about sympathetic joy. I mean, the feeling of competitiveness, or for me, especially comparison, comparing myself to others, because from childhood, I've had frustrations about certain limitations I have. And I have such deep conditioning around those limitations. If you if I expressed it, it would be expressed as comparing mind. So I hadn't really made a connection between comparing mind and metta, and saying metta for myself. So that's a huge awareness, bubbling up. So I can have that little seed of compassion for myself, because it's hard to have what I envision as a pure metta practice for others if I have this little comparing piece going on. That's it. Maybe it'll resonate with others. Thank you very much, Ellen.
Thank you, Lisa. And I see Becky.
Hello, Alan, and thank you so much for this. Because my practice began in pain, that I felt so clearly that metta for myself was part of what I needed to do to move forward as well in any way. And yes, it's many times I just kept going on, may this body be at ease, because it's not like you just need to go through each of them. You need to be in what that is. And sometimes it never came around, but it helped the pain in the meanwhile. And I also have found it really useful to have the song form of it, because I can carry it around in my pocket instead of just when I'm sitting. And I'm looking forward. I hope that you're going to be bringing us some of the suggestions of practice related to equanimity and equipoise, because I think I need some work on that.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah. Yeah, equanimity is sort of the queen, huh? um, so one thing I noticed, I was, all of those radiating practices of the sun, they radiate. But the practice of equanimity, it's moonlight, it's a reflection. And it's actually the Brahmavihara that supports all of the Brahmaviharas. And one day I was sitting zazen here with this group, with Appamada, and I was doing the Brahmaviharas a little bit since I was preparing to give this talk. So I went through them, and then I got to equanimity, and I realized it's zazen. It's shikantaza. At some point during zazen and shikantaza, there is that open sense of equanimity, and I could relate it to moonlight. Anyway, that was my little experiment. This is something for each one of you to discover on your own. It's a great practice. Yeah. Becky, would you feel like singing your version?
Oh, sure. I want to see everybody. There, got it. May our bodies be at ease. May our hearts be open. May our minds be boundless. May we awaken together.
Thank you. I think we have now come to the end. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate you.